Great. Well, I'm Nicole Biggert. I'm the Dean of the Graduate School of Management, and I am absolutely delighted to welcome you here. Happy New Year. This is Happy New Year. 2008 is going to be a great year. I'm feeling really good about it. It's a stormy night, but we have a fireplace. We have the warmth of friendship, and I'm looking forward to a very nice evening with you all. Before we get started, I want to thank the sponsor of our event. This event is one of the things that we do with and for our business partners, members of the business community who support us financially. They support us in lots of ways, help us figure out what we should be doing. And this is one of the ways in which we interact with each other. We like being the place where business people come and meet other business people, as well as our students and our staff and faculty. So, the sponsor of this event is Capital Public Radio, one of our business partners, and I want to thank them for their ongoing support of management education, as well as our other business partners who are here who also support us in lots of ways. So, thank you. We are fortunate tonight to have a local entrepreneur, someone who dreamed really big dreams and take some really big risks, but have really made those risks pay off and make those dreams come true. I've heard him speak before. He's an inspirational person, but he's a great speaker. He's able to articulate that, and so I'm really delighted that he is here. But before I introduce him, I want to recognize some people. One of my close partners on this campus is Barry Klein, who is the Vice Chancellor of Research. Barry's right there. As I'm very happy to brag for Barry, UC Davis brings in more than $500 million of research money, in part because we have fantastic faculty who's solving some of the great problems of our world, and also because of the tremendous organization of Barry's office and helping support our research efforts. It's a very important role. And I'd like to acknowledge three members of our Dean's Advisory Council: Bob Medeiros, Gary Orr, and Judd Riggs, who are here, who support us. Gary there, yeah. There's Bob back there, yeah, and okay, and Judd is here too, someplace. Where's Judd? Slipped out. Oh no, there he is. He's hiding. Okay, he's hiding behind Roberta. Okay, and many of you were with us just about a month ago, right outside. These were actually in here in part where we had the groundbreaking for our brand new Graduate School of Management building. It was a phenomenal experience if you were able to join us. And last night I sat down to watch Antiques Roadshow on KVIE, and there was our groundbreaking. It was wonderful, and I got all excited again. It was a really exciting event, the largest number of people ever to come to a UC Davis groundbreaking. Bigger than the Mondavi Center. It was a fabulous event. Balloons, champagne, big equipment, just lots of fun. And we had big toys. Really great time. I mean, I think there are a lot of people in our community who really want to see us be successful, to be part of what makes our community economically vibrant. And that building is going to make a huge difference. It's going to create visibility for all of us and all of the things that we do here in our local economy. So we're excited. The building will open, assuming no major earthquakes or unforeseen events, in the fall of 2009, and we are that's very soon. It's going to be it's coming very quickly. It's going to be a very nice building, and right across from the Mondavi Center. So we'll have a nice little party, and then we'll all go in our building, and then we'll go across the way to see something at the Mondavi Center. It'll be a fabulous facility for all of us to enjoy. So very excited. It's made, and I do want to acknowledge the very generous donation of Maury and Marcia Gallagher, who gave us $10 million to really complete this gift, and also to many other people, some of whom are in this room, who are contributing to this great new facility. So, thank you to Maury and Marcia, and thank you to those of you who are who have pledged support to this new building. One of the we have sort of a little corporate logo, and you can see it there, corporate. We act corporate-like. It says "Ideas into Action" on the bottom of that. And this evening, the event that we're having this evening is one of the ways in which we support the idea that we take ideas from some of the founding principles of business, ideas about financial analyses, marketing. But we put them into action. We don't just teach in the classroom. We send our students out, and we bring people into our community. And tonight is one of those times where we are inspired by somebody who's bringing something in, so we can see how ideas are actually put into action. I'm really honored to introduce Dale Carlsen, who is our speaker tonight, and very much a local hero. Not only a local hero, he's a West Coast hero, probably going to take over for the rest of the country if you just keep it up. Your bankers are here. They're really happy to know about this. Keep going, Dale. He is the founder, president, and chief executive officer of the Sleep Train, which is headquartered here in Sacramento. He's got a great story to share. I've heard it in short version, but it's a terrific story. Just after a year after graduating from Sac State, he opened his first Sleep Train store in 1985 in Sacramento. 22 years later, with lots of stories in those 22 years. Sleep Train is one of the nation's top 3 mattress retailers, and when you think just about everybody has a mattress, that's huge. And it's the largest on the West Coast with more than 220 locations. There are a lot of really bad things I could say, like this is not a sleepy business, or it's a king size business or whatever. But I think I will go. But Sleep Train continues a very aggressive acquisition process. They've acquired Mattress Discounters West and Sleep Country USA. And I also want to mention that Dale has a very strong commitment to philanthropy and to the communities in which he does business, which I think should be noted. His personal philanthropy and Sleep Train's giving programs over the past 20 years have been very widely recognized. I think it's especially wonderful that every year he donates 4,500 mattress sets to needy families. He's thank you. Yeah. He's an active leader in the business community. He's involved with Junior Achievement. He serves on the board of the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Sacramento and Cal State Sacramento School of Business Advisory Board. So he gives back in lots of ways. And 2 years ago, the Sacramento Metro Chamber honored Dale as Businessman of the Year. So he's recognized by his peers for what he does also. And this evening, he said that he's going to talk to us about his journey as an entrepreneur and some of the keys to success that he's learned in this journey. So please help me in welcoming Dale Carlsen.
Hello. Nice to be here. Thanks for braving the weather. When I was given the dates to choose, I looked at the calendar and said, okay, January in Sacramento, it's sure to rain, nobody will come. I'll take that date. But you all came out anyway, so thanks for braving the weather to come out to hear my little story. What I'd like to do, if it's okay, is just share a little bit about the history of our company, kind of where I've come from, what we've done. And then I'd really like to open it up to questions, because that way I can answer the questions that you want to know about what we've done and some of our principles and some of the things that have helped us build the company. So that work for everybody? Okay. Some of you might have heard this story in various parts, but so I apologize for that. But I started I went to Sacramento State, yes, that other campus down the road. But as I said, I am a Davis in-law because my wife went to UC Davis. So I got, we always have a constant battle when the Causeway Classic comes up, but we haven't been doing so well lately, so we don't talk about it much. I try to avoid it. Anyway, went to Sacramento State, got a job at a mattress manufacturing company as a flunky. And answering the phone, taking the garbage out, just doing what I needed to do. They joke, it was my beer and gas job. I went to school. The owners were a couple that had bought the business, and they really took me under their wings. They kind of showed me the business from the inside out. I learned, how the business worked. I actually went out in the factory and learned to make mattresses. The owner finally offered me a job as a salesman. He said, okay, can you go to school Tuesday and Thursday, and you can sell Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and go out and sell to the retail stores. I thought, oh, that'd be great. It beats taking the garbage out, so we'll do that. So I went out, did that, enjoyed that, but my degree was in real estate, finance, and insurance. I wanted to be a commercial real estate broker. Sacramento was on fire, as it always is, growing. Wanted to do commercial real estate. Interviewed with a couple of the real estate houses and got 2 job offers. But as you know, the first 2 years of real estate, you got to pay your dues, right? And I have no problem paying my dues. You got to work your way up, and that was no problem with that. But at the same time, my boss came to me and offered me a job as his sales manager. And I thought, that's a great job. I'm 23, a sales manager. That's a great job. But I don't want to sell mattresses the rest of my life. I really want to do this real estate stuff. So I went to the real estate guys and said, can you help me out? He's offering me $30,000 a year. You're offering me $12,000 a year. He's offering vacation. No vacation. He's offering medical benefits. No medical benefits. And most importantly, he's offering me a sports car, his company car, and I'm young and single. And you're not offering me anything. So all I really wanted was for him to come up to $15,000, so I was only taking half pay. And the guy did the best favor ever, and I wish I knew who he was because I owe him a huge debt of gratitude. But he said, I'll do you one better. Go to work for them for 2 years. Come back. I'll hire you on as a broker because you just need the outside sales experience. I go, hey, best of both worlds. I get the money, I get the car, and I get to do the real estate. But in the process of going in and out of all the stores from Visalia to the Oregon border in the middle of nowhere, Nevada, I got tired of giving my ideas and having people saying, great idea, and never doing it. So, simple things like you go into the store and all the beds would be in bags because they didn't want to waste the inventory. If they took it out of the bag, then they had to sell it as used. But if they kept it in the bag, they could sell it as new. Who here would want to lay down on a mattress in a bag in the store? No one, right? They weren't selling very many mattresses, and they couldn't figure out why. They said, take it out of the bag. No, we don't want to do that. Or advertising. The mattress business has a lot of co-op advertising. The factories will give you money to advertise. And so I'd go to them and say, okay, I'm going to pay half your ad. You just got to run an ad. Oh, no. Advertising doesn't work. I don't want to do that. Okay, let me say this again. I'm going to pay half of it. So it should work for you. They wouldn't do it. So I got tired of doing that and finally went to my dad and said, this is not that hard of a business. My dad was a CPA. I said, I want to open my own store. He said, don't do it. Don't do it. Small businesses fail. Right, Gary? Small businesses fail. Don't do it. Stick with what you know. Maybe you can get some ownership of the mattress factory or go do your real estate stuff, but don't go into business for yourself. Well, fortunately for me, my stepmom won a trip on the radio to London. My parents had never been out of the country. They took their first trip ever out of the country. In that 2-week period, I bought a truck, leased some space, and quit my job. I was a little afraid of my father. I admit it. My dad came back. He wasn't quite sure what to do with his son and make this big blunder. But he said, like all fathers did, well, you're on your own. I go, yeah, I kind of figured that was true. But he said, well, I'll give you one piece of advice. And that's if you want to be successful, surround yourself with good people, treat them right, and make everybody successful. And that's really what the core principle and factor of the success of our company is. I am blessed to work day in and day out with some of the greatest people around. They are so energized. They are so caring about the customer, about their coworkers, about what we're trying to do in our community. It's just a phenomenal thing. So that's really the crux of where we got to where we are. But we had to go through some hills to get there. Gary's been with me on a few of them. And, I opened the first store. And let's see, it took me 15 days to sell my first sale. And it was a bed frame for $14.95. And I had 15 more days to pay a $1,200 rent payment, and I didn't have any money to do that. Because unlike what you learn when you actually go to, management school, and you can learn that you should actually have a proper backing and financial wherewithal to do it, I didn't have that. I had taken out a household finance loan at 22.95% interest on the house that I had bought when I was going to college. I bought a house, had a mortgage payment with all included for $599, had two roommates paying $250 a month in rent. It's a good deal. I had a $99 a month payment, but I had bought it out of a divorce, so I was able to get it for under market, so I had some money in there. But at 22.95 interest, it's a little hard to pay back. Kind of like my loan now. But no. No. I did obviously pay that loan off, but I opened up, and it was not doing well. About 8 months into it, I was struggling. It was tough because I'm the real estate guru, right? That's what I wanted to be. What's the number one real estate rule? Location, 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 right? Well, when you're 23, location, 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 somewhere close to your house, someone that will lease to you, and rent you can afford. Not necessarily the right combination for a mattress store. So I chose a location next to the flea market on Folsom Boulevard because, flea market, that's going to bring lots of people, but not the right people. But it was next to a great pizza parlor, still there, Roma's Pizza. If you haven't had it, it's the best pizza in town. It's the most unhealthy pizza in town. It just drips of grease. But it is great pizza. About 8 months into it, I decided, this is not going well. I either need to open a second store so I can advertise more and go broke twice as fast, or just call it quits. But I opened the second store, and at the same time, I had an account executive for KFTK Radio who would eat pizza next door at the pizza parlor. I wasn't buying radio, couldn't afford radio, wasn't going to do it, but we got to be friends. He was actually a drummer in the Ray Charles band, had taken a 6-month hiatus to sell radio because his buddy worked at the radio station. He actually went back and played with Ray till he stopped touring. But he came in one day and we're eating pizza and we're talking. He says, I got this new guy at the station, needs a bed. Will you take care of him? I go, yes, I need every sale I can get because Dad's about ready to be right, and that's the last thing I want to happen. So he brought the guy in, and it happened to be Rush Limbaugh. Rush had just moved into town. He just had his first bomb threat, and he needed a bed. So Rush came in, and Rush talked me in to going on the radio with him. He said, let me go on the radio. My listeners will come in and buy beds from you. I go, I can't afford radio. We went back and forth and said, just let me do it. And I don't know how he talked me into it because I did not have the money to do it. We were very strapped at that time. I didn't have the money to risk on doing it. But somehow he talked me into it. He went on the radio. People started coming in left and right saying, I want the bed Rush sleeps on. I want the bed Rush sleeps on. Does anybody know what the first thing I did was? Huh? Well, the first thing I did is I called Rush. I said, he and Michelle, I said, you and Michelle, that's his second wife. You and Michelle need to come back in, and you need to get the top of the line because they'll buy any bed you're sleeping on. So Rush came down. We got the best bed, and that's it. From there, we decided, he can't be the only one that could do this. So we tried the afternoon team on the news station, and that worked. And then Paul and Phil had just started on, at that time it was KAER radio. They had just started, and we started them, and that took off. Since then, we've used hundreds of personalities up and down the coast. Because fortunately for me, it doesn't matter what your political beliefs are. It doesn't matter what your religious beliefs are, what your sexual preferences are, or anything. Everybody sleeps. And everybody needs a bed from me. Right? So we can use, we've used anywhere from Rush Limbaugh to Howard Stern to Al Franken and everybody in between. Has done spots for us, and it's worked very well. But let's go back to the beginning. Open the first store, open the second store. It started to do well. My family started to think that this is a great idea. We want to go in. We want to open a store. Can we go in with you? I'm going, well, sure, I don't have any more money, so sure, bring your money with you. So we opened up a store. Everybody knows. What's the other rule? Don't do business with family. Don't do business with family and friends. No. Especially if it doesn't work. We thought, once again, the real estate guru that I am, we chose Natomas. Because this was in 1987. Natomas was booming. The overpass was going in just a year. It took about 9 years for it to go in, actually. But the overpass was going in. We opened a store. Failed miserably. My people were playing golf in the store all day long. They would literally putt from here to there. I'd go in there and go, there is a golf course in here, guys. We're supposed to be selling mattresses. But we ended up closing that store. I went to my family, said, this is not working. I want to buy you out. Let's close this down. Let's go forward. So we did that. It actually worked out great. No family, no disruption in our family. We all get along great. Opened up a store, moved it over to the South area. We've moved our store 3 times in the South area. Finally found one that's good, although we'll probably be moving eventually into the new Florida Mall as they redo that. But the store before that was a great store, as long as you don't mind the mafia that met in the corner, the prostitutes that got arrested in front of the drug deals in the parking lot. So those were another real estate great venture of mine. I'm glad I didn't go into that real estate end of it. Anyway, we opened up that store. Got a right location that's there now. Opened up the How About Arden store. Nobody had done, and does everybody know where our How About Arden store is? It's upstairs. Everybody said I was crazy to open a store, a mattress store, upstairs. It's, retail is done on the Main Street. It's done on the street. It's not done upstairs. What they didn't know was that the landlord was making a great deal for me. Basically, I had a 1-year bailout. I could bail out in a year, and he gave me 10 months free rent. So I figured if I can't make it work with 2 months rent for a whole year, I'm out, and what do I have to lose? Open it up. Up until 2 years ago, it was the #1 store in our chain, doing $6 million a year in business out of that one location. Since then, our Santa Rosa store and a couple other stores have beat it. So went from there, decided this is working. We can expand this. We can move to other areas. Let's try Modesto. That's our first one. We tried Modesto. It worked. Okay, we can really make this work. We set out to put a plan together to how do we grow our business. What do we need to do? Well, first we looked at our inventory and said, well, we're growing in inventory over here of distressed inventory. The scratch and dent, the damaged inventory is growing. Had $100,000 in inventory sitting there that I couldn't do anything with that I needed the cash from. So thought about it and opened boxcar bedding. Boxcar bedding, I decided would be an offtake of Sleep Train with the boxcar. Boxcar giving you the impression of it being a lower price and so forth, which it was. And it was our clearance store. We opened that in 93 and put our plan together, a 5-year plan, to expand into other markets. The plan included financing, programs, all the management tools as far as the documentation of our computer system, documentation of our policies, all that kind of stuff. Did that, started to put our plan together, and was rolling right along. And in 1995, Smith's Home Furnishing filed bankruptcy. Smith's Home Furnishing was the largest furniture retailer in the Pacific Northwest, and in particular in the Portland, Oregon market. Had 50% of the mattress business was done out of this store. And they went bankrupt. Well, at that time, Bruner's had gone bankrupt, Macy's had gone bankrupt, Levitt's had gone bankrupt, everybody had gone bankrupt, it seemed, but they all came out of it. So, but we started listening to the vendors, and they said they're not coming out of it. So we looked at it, and sure enough, in August, they filed bankruptcy, and they weren't going to come out of it. We went up in 96 and opened up stores in Portland, Oregon. But when we did that, I was very conservative. I was scared about this expansion. So we only opened 4 stores when we first opened. What that did is it gave the opportunity for my competitors to open up, the local competitors opened more stores, and more importantly, my biggest competitor came down from Seattle, which was Sleep Country USA, came down and they opened 10 stores. We slowly tried to catch up to them, and he said, okay, we're not catching up to them on stores here. Let's go open up stores in their market. So we're going to go right to the heart of our competitor. So we went up, but when we went to Seattle in 97, we opened up 14 stores immediately and took the market by storm. And all of a sudden, he's fighting us on both battles. It helped really to help grow our business and take us to the next level. We also got the attention of the industry. The industry had looked at it and decided this industry was going to go vertical. The manufacturers thought that this is the time for them to take the whole business and go vertical. So they started buying up retail stores. And they approached us, of course. And we looked at it and said, I was looking at it and said, okay, that's a lot of money. When I was offered, I had two different people run in, started to go down the road with one of them. Said, I just can't pass this up. We got to do it. But I wasn't sleeping well at night. When you're a mattress guy, you should sleep well every night, right? I was not sleeping well at night. And my wife looked at me and said, why are you doing this? I go, because it's millions and millions of dollars. She says, so? We do everything we want to do now, right? Yeah. Says, we have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old at the time. Yeah. Not like we can travel the world. No. Your friends can't come play with you. They're working. Yeah. You suck at golf. And you don't fish. What are you going to do with your life? And you're not coming home. So, so I didn't, I looked at it and said, good point. Okay. I realized what it was. I realized I liked what I was doing. I loved the people I was working with. I loved every part of what we were doing. And I knew we could do better. I knew we could grow this business bigger and better. And so I called them up and said, I'm sorry. I know we've gone down this road. I'd love to make this deal, but I can't. We need to back out of this. He said, let me fly out. We'll take the red eye. He was coming out from New York. I said, okay, I owe you that. Come out. I left the house the next morning, turned to my wife, said, are you sure? This is millions and millions of dollars. And she said, we're sure. So I left and went down and talked to him and said, okay, not going to do it. I apologize. Appreciate everything. He says, how about your Northwest stores? I want to buy your Northwest stores. I go, well, I don't want to sell my Northwest stores. I like my Northwest stores. I like it up there. He slid the proverbial paper across the table. And I said, well, I don't like them that much. Now, in all honesty, I looked at it and said, 75% of my business in California. 25% was in the Northwest. We had grown so rapidly. In 96, we'd opened Portland. 98, 97, I forgot one. In 97, we'd opened Seattle. 98, we'd opened San Francisco Bay Area. When we opened the Bay Area, we opened up with 21 stores immediately out of there. So this was 99. By the time there were so many Band-Aids on our systems, I said, if we take that money and we invest in our people, we invest in our programs, we can become a far better company. So we sold the Northwest stores to Sleep Country, or to the same buyer. The other part was they were buying Sleep Country USA, our biggest competitor. And I looked at it and said, so if they do buy our biggest competitor and we have to compete against them, that's going to be an issue too, because they got lots of money now and they'll be able to go at us a lot stronger. So they bought us and they bought Sleep Country USA. We came back into Sacramento or into California and invested in our people. We invested in our programs, our training. We opened training departments, built a training program, invested in the systems that we had, invested in every internal part of our company, and promised ourselves that we would not do anything for 2 years. 2 years later, we decided, it's time to look again. Weather's good. Let's go down to San Diego. Nothing's going to be available. Nothing's ever available in San Diego. But weather's good. Let's go to San Diego. Flew to San Diego, and for the first time ever of me looking at San Diego real estate, there was a hole. We could open up 7 stores to 10 stores within a 3-month period if we went right now. So we put our plan together. We said, we're doing it. So we went down and opened up San Diego. That was in 2002. In 2003, the CEO for Mattress Discounters, called me. Mattress Discounters was the largest sleep shop in the nation at the time, but they'd been having financial troubles. He called me and said, you've heard we've had some financial troubles? I go, yeah. Sorry about that. They were a competitor too. And I said, I've heard that. And he says, well, I'd love to sell you my Detroit stores or my Florida stores or my Chicago stores, but I don't think you'll buy those. I go, no. They're all losing a lot of money. I'm not going to do that. He says, but how about San Diego? I'm making money in San Diego. You're growing in San Diego. We've got great locations. You need our locations. Buy my San Diego stores. I looked at it and said, yeah, that works. We'll buy your San Diego stores. We'll convert them all to Sleep Train. This will be great because they had great real estate, great locations. He went to his bankers. God bless the bank. Went to his bankers, and the banker said, that's great. Sell them. We get all the money. And he said, okay, so you want me to sell something that is cash positive for me and give you all the money. That's not going to really work for me to try to get out of my troubles. So he came back to me and said, that's not going to work. How about you buy all my California stores? I go, first of all, I don't want L.A. Because LA's a nightmare. Don't want to do it. So they said, okay, you don't have to take LA. And you don't have to take my plant. So they have a manufacturing plant. I said, okay, good. Don't want your plant. I looked at it and I said, well, I have stores in Northern California. They're great locations. I don't need those. But then I went home that night and I thought about it. I looked at my parents and how they were as consumers. They were two opposite consumers. My mom wants quality products, great prices, and she wants to be taken care of with the best service possible. She wants to be treated with respect for the money she's spending. My dad, he wanted a deal. Every piece of furniture in my dad's house was bought at a bargain, discount, clearance, closeout place. But it was quality stuff. But he wanted that deal. If I didn't own Sleep Train, he would never have bought from Sleep Train. He would buy from mattress discounters because he wanted the discounter. So I looked and I said, there's two types of customers out there, and I can't be everything for everyone. So we decided, if we buy this, we can help service our customers better. We can service the customer, the Sleep Train customer, with the quality products and service that they want, as well as go out to the factories and get all the bargains and the discounts and the clearance product to make mattress discounters work. So we bought the mattress discounters chain, and that was my first introduction to culture and the joy of how culture works when you merge two companies together. I had looked at it and said that mattress discounters culture was straight line. You don't go outside the box. You answer the person right above you. You don't talk to anybody outside of that. And it's right there, and it's very regimented. We're an employee-based company. We love our employees. Everybody has a say. It's an open-door policy. You can talk to anybody in the company anytime. All the ideas are important. We have retreats and all these events to bring people together to get the ideas from all of our people. They don't do that. They'll love coming to our company. Well, they love that part. The part they didn't like was the part that I also have this accountability issue, that I kind of want the money in the bank when you make the deposit. You know, at the end of the night, go to the bank, deposit it. 2-3 days, the bank tends to not like it when it's 2-3 days later it shows up. And sometimes it didn't show up. You know, that was a problem for me. Or how about opening the store? You know, well, I didn't get up, or, you know, it's too hard. We open at 10 o'clock in the morning. It's not like they have to get up at 4. You know, they have to be there at 10. Open the store so the customer can come in. So we had some issues with the cultural clash of the two different styles. And there were those that were able to come into the fold, and there were those that we all needed to part ways, either by their choice or by our choice. But we did a big job of trying to make it work for everybody. The next step went from there with mattress discounters. We finally got it turned around. It was doing well. Then we looked around and said, okay, what do we want to do now? As my mom says, when things are going great, things are just going smooth and soft and everything's perfect and you're making money, I can't leave it alone. I have to stir the pot. I get bored. It's just boring. Let's go do something. Let's buy Sleep Country back because we want it. So we went to the factories. The factory, what had happened was Sleep Country, the parent company of Sleep Country, which was Fenway Partners, had, when they exited out of the Simmons company, Simmons bought the company from them. So Simmons, the manufacturer, now had a retailer that they thought would be better suited in a retailer's hands than a manufacturer's hands. So it was perfect timing for them and for us to put a partnership together for us to buy Sleep Country USA and take the retailing back to the retailer and let the manufacturer manufacture. So we went up, we made a deal with Sleep Country USA to buy back not only our old stores, but all the stores that went along with that, with Sleep Country that they bought from there. Bringing us to the total today of 224 stores, I think. And we'll finish, I think we finished last year at just under $350 million in sales. So that's the condensed story of here. So now it's your guys' turn. I want to answer questions. And nice ones, Lindy. What's that?
There's always been a lot of talk about the Gen X and Gen Y.
Oh, yeah.
What have you seen over the course of your 20 years as far as employees and those different age brackets? And what are some of the challenges that you see?
It's a great question because it's. Oh, okay, the question was, what have I seen over the 20 plus years of the growth of the Gen X, Gen Ys, and the different employee base, so to speak? It has changed, definitely. the wants and wishes of the would-be employees are changing. Fortunately for us, it fits perfectly in our direction. Being the customer-friendly company that we are, and the employee-based company that we are, as far as we have our retreats that we build all of our new ideas out of what comes from our employees. So as our employees have changed, our policies, our procedures, and everything have changed to address the different issues that they're looking for. And it is different. It's not just, you're not just working to make money, you're working, there's other issues that are more important to our staff. The fact that we interact and we have the social activities and we do the other stuff is very important. You talk to our people, they say it is the greatest company to work for from that standpoint. They meet and make some of their best long-term friends out of our company because, one, you work with them so long, but also because of the way we blend our business with our activities. Because we do believe that there's more to work than just working and getting a paycheck. I tell each and every one of them that if you're not having fun, then something's wrong. I need to know about it so I can change it, or we need to figure out how we can make you have fun. Because this is what, you can't just, in today's world, just making money, doing the grind, going in, making money, going home, paying the bills, going home, and that just doesn't work anymore. And nobody should have to work that way. So.
If you'd raise your hand, I'd love it if you'd use the microphone. We'll get it on the videotape that way. And,
Hi, I actually have 3 questions, but 2 are quick.
Okay.
What kind of mattress do you sleep on? You knew that was coming.
I knew that was coming, yeah.
I know you knew that was coming. Are you really supposed to get a new one every 10 years?
7.
7!
Actually, in my world, I'd hope it'd be 3. But
And it's not an industry I didn't do a lot of research on this before I came. So is it overseas yet? What's
question.
the spectrum on that eventual movement? I mean, in my
Sure.
mind, everything goes overseas. So
Right.
I'm hearing Simmons, so I'm thinking domestically manufactured. There's
Right.
always Georgia and all the textiles.
Yeah.
I'm somewhat familiar with that. So just
Okay.
where's that going? Thank you.
So first question, the bed I sleep on is the Simmons Beauty Rest Black line. It's the Simmons Beauty Rest top of the line. We're fortunate that we're the only retailer in the western states where you can find on our floor the Sleep Number bed by Select Comfort, which is the air bed, the Tempur-Pedic, which is the memory foam, the Sealy Posturepedic, the Simmons Beauty Rest, all on one floor. So you don't have to go from store to store. Because you can imagine, if you go lay down on a bed in one store and then you go across town to another store and lay down, can you remember what they feel like? I venture to guess that most of you can't remember going across the aisle to the one on the other side of our store because it changes. So we have all the different ones, and each one is different. I would say out of pretty much everybody in this room would probably choose a different bed. It is amazing the differences, which is why we have so many different ones to choose from. Because your backs, your sides, how you sleep, what your ailments are all different from each other. And so having the different options is what's important. So I sleep on that. Our VP of sales sleeps on the Sleep Number bed, swears it's the best bed he's ever slept on, would never sleep on anything else in his life. My aunt sleeps on the Tempur-Pedic one, I think it is, and she swears by it. So everybody has their own preference on that. So that was one. What was the 3 is the big one. The big one, as far as the time life, yes, it is 7 to 10 years is the time on mattresses. And the reason, are they dead? No. Can you still sleep on it? Yeah. People do. I mean, we've had beds that are 40 years old turned in. So the problem is that they lose their support characteristics. So you don't recognize it as much, and that's why people who travel tend to buy beds more often because they do recognize it. One of the best things that happened to our industry is the hotel industry has figured out they're selling sleep. They're not selling anything else. So they started upgrading all their mattresses. And everybody goes away on vacation now. They're coming home saying, I need a new bed because this bed is terrible. So that's the time frame is 7 to 10 years is typical on that. And these times, there's a lot of changes too. If you haven't bought one in the last 2 years, there's a new fire retardancy code that went in place that required that the beds be more fire retardant. And really it's not for the incidence of the gin and tonic and the cigarette in bed. It's It's really about if there is a fire in your house, the mattress not burning as fast does allow the fire department to take more time to, have more time before it explodes to get it under control. So that just happened actually, nationally it happened last year. It happened in California 2 years ago. As far as overseas, I was sharing with Gary the other day, one of the great things about our business is that we're not threatened by a lot of the other things out there so far, knock on wood. And realistically, mattresses, there are some imports. The Chinese are doing a really good job of trying to import. The inherent problem we have is the size and bulk of what's being imported and what the processes are. It's not heavily intensive. So the size and bulk make it difficult on the cost of shipping. On top of that is that you are laying your head right next to it. If anybody bought any import clothes or anything like that, it has that smell, right? That smell because it's been on the water for so long. When you're laying your head against it, you don't want to be smelling that import smell constantly. So that's another issue with it. The other issue is this fire retardant law. You can't get, the compliance is so restrictive and so incredibly bureaucratic, I would say, that for the Chinese right now, under their current way of doing things, can't comply with it. So it's a difficult product to import, and we're not looking at that being as big of an issue. The other thing is the internet. It's not an internet product friendly, primarily because you need to test it and try it out. Because like I said, everybody has a different feel and a different bed that they would choose. Well, if you buy it over the internet, you don't know what it feels like, and to ship it back is expensive. So it's really a touch and feel product. So it has to be there. We're also not, we're more recession proof than other home furnishing. The home furnishing industry as a whole, everybody likes to clump into one big group. But the mattress business is not, because it's a necessity product. You need to sleep. You need a good bed. You're going to buy it. It's not a designer product. It's not a fashion product. It's not, the couch or the dining room or something like that. It's something that you can put off because you got a couch that works and you got a dining room set. It is a product that you need because you don't just wake up in the morning and go, let's go buy a mattress. You go buy a mattress because you need one. Because the one you're sleeping on doesn't work anymore. Or you're moving into a new place. Or you unfortunately split up. There's a need for that bed. Or your kids are growing. The kids are a great part of our business. We love kids. Everybody have more kids. So, you're saying about how many beds can be. When I started the business, my mom said, how can you possibly make a living selling mattresses? I mean, doesn't everybody have a bed? And I think that's what she still doesn't understand how good. She says, she says, well, we've had ours for 25 years. I go, yeah, Mom, you're not our customer, really. But it was really about, if you look around, you see all the houses, and every house has, on average, 3 sleeping rooms, right? So there's 3 sleeping rooms, and everyone needs a bed. Then you go through the cycle. The kid comes out of the crib. Thank you. Couldn't think of the term. I'm fortunately a ways from that time. Out of the crib into the first bed. Then about 8 or 9, they need another bed. Then the teenage years hit. And if it's a tall kid, they need another one because they're too long. And then they move out. They either take the bed with them, which means mom and dad have to replace it, or you need to get them one. So there's this constant, and then there's a little coast until they get married, then they get another one. And then they make some money, they get a better one. And then they coast for a little bit, and then they get another one. And it goes on and on. So there's a good cycle, and it's constantly repeating, and we love it about our business. Barry.
Okay, you're doing well. Are you bored?
We're still processing Sleep Country was very similar in culture to us. They really had a lot of the same philosophies, same belief. They operate on the same concepts that we do. And so we're bringing that together. But right now we're transitioning. One of the lessons I learned was, and I admit this is a failure on my part, I thought that the big corporate world of when you make an acquisition, you come in, you get rid of top management, and you change things was a horrible way to go and shouldn't do it. I learned that it is still a horrible thing to do, but there is a reason for part of it, and that is cultural and control. we had a conflict with our senior management there. What I had done is bought the company thinking that I could let them just run it. They'd run it. Everything would be great. And we'd all be happy. Problem was they wanted to run it, but not necessarily give me all the information I wanted, or we had different views on different things. And so we had some difference of opinion being that I owned it. So I thought that maybe my opinion counted a little more when it came to the direction of the company. So we had to process through that, and we've just done through the transition of going that. So we're still processing up here, so I'm still keeping busy. Too busy, according to my wife. So she would not accept anything else right now.
First, I just wanted to thank you for being here tonight. It's really interesting to hear about your journey in this business. And I was wondering, are there recycling programs for all of these mattresses that people are getting rid of after 10 years? And you know, I'm assuming the 4,500 that you're donating, those have to be new mattresses because nonprofits and charities won't accept used. And my second question is, do you have customers coming in that are requesting mattresses that are made with environmentally sustainable materials at all?
Good question. The recycling issue is a big one. We have always recycled. Part of our program is we take away the old beds for free. Part of that is so that we can control the recycling and make sure they do get recycled. It's $65 now to take a mattress to the dump. Two things wrong. One, that's a lot of money. Two, it's huge space use of the dumps. So not a good thing to happen. We give them to a recycler. They tear them apart. The products that are usable, they reuse. Those that aren't, they get rid of. There is a move, and I'm going to a meeting in February, actually, to try as an industry to take it one step further and fully shred and break down the whole product in order to reduce the space and the quantity of product that's out there. Because there's a lot of, you see them on the side of the road. That's why you see them on the side of the road, because it's $65 to drop it off at the dump. But so there's an issue there. As far as green products, there is. The factories are working on, they actually are working on different aspects. Not getting a lot of push from the consumer yet. They're not coming in asking for that. You know, there's here and there, but not on a huge level. But the factories are ahead of that game, and they're trying to get there as well. We've got some leaders in the industry right now that are really pushing to take the whole industry greener. So that's good. What else?
Are there regional differences in the way the mattress industry is organized? You're in the West Coast. Would you, is there some reason not to go to other parts of the country?
Not necessarily for me. My preference is to stay Denver West. I've always told everybody I want to be Denver West. Part of that is I don't want to fly that far. The other part is that retail changes as you go east. The way retail is done is different. The industry doesn't change. The manufacturers are the same, but the retail does change. The consumer changes. The West Coast is much more accommodating, much more easy customer to work with. They want to be treated right. They want a good quality product. They want a good price. You go east, and it's a harder customer to deal with as you go all the way east. So, which we could do, but from a management standpoint, would require our training to shift to teach training in dealing with that customer base. So that's one of the things that is different from area to area. But the factories are centralized back east, and then they have hubs throughout the country.
So with all your experience now, if you were to look back and think and had to go choose another industry to operate in, what would be maybe 3 to 5 characteristics you would look for that would mimic the success you've had in the mattress space?
The one, profit margins. We're fortunate to be in a business that has a decent profit margin. We're not in electronics. Profit margins. The issues that I talked about as far as, is it an internet product? If you're going to do the internet, you got to know the internet, you got to do the internet. But you can't be halfway. If it's a product to be sold on the internet, you're going to get crushed in the end. So you've got to be able to get that under control. Either know the platform you're going to do. Our plan for the internet is to really sell off, the sheets, the stuff that isn't a touch and feel product on the internet, as well as the import. What is that role that's going to play on that? And then the people. Can you find people that are talented in the area you're selling? We look for great, energetic people to come work for us. And that's the same thing I'd want. I'd want something that I can involve people, because when you bring all these minds together, it's amazing what you can come up with. So, that would be, number one thing for me would be people. Can I find an industry that people are important and that people can make a difference in how you succeed? So, sure.
As your delivery system is absolutely amazing. You can go in the store, you can pick out a bed, you can sleep on it tonight. How do you possibly make that happen in terms of inventory?
We stock. Well, I started that from the beginning. I mean, my same-day delivery when I started consisted of me handing the keys to my truck to the customer, and they could take the bed home. Until my insurance company and lawyers found out and said that, you just can't do that. So, but my philosophy at the beginning was to stock the inventory, because when I got into the industry, it was 4 to 6 weeks to get a bed delivered. You'd go to Macy's, you buy a bed, 6-8 weeks later, actually, at Macy's, they would deliver you a product. I thought that was ridiculous, because I looked around and I said, for the same reason I said earlier, that you don't just go, hey, let's go buy a bed. You're buying a bed because you need it. And a lot of the things that we've done of our policies that I take with all of our people are how we want to be treated. And when I look at, my wife says I'm poor on delayed gratification. She says that when you want something, you want it now. I go, yeah, doesn't everybody? I mean, that's the way I am. I think everybody should be that way. And I thought that's the same with mattresses. As far as the system, it's an expensive system. It's also one of the trademarks that keep our competitors away from us, because they can't duplicate it. It's too difficult of a system to do, and we've got it down. So it's one of those little milestones in our company that help us be successful. So, sure.
How many employees do you have, and what does your org chart look like? Is it fairly flat, or?
Okay, 1,300, I think now. 1,300, yeah. Excuse me. And we basically have what we call our executive leadership team, which is 18 people right now that cover all the different areas of the company, from sales, training, IT, marketing, finance, all the different areas of the company. From there, that's on the corporate end of it. And then from there, we have the store. From the store side, we have a general manager, we have a division or district manager, and then a store manager. So it kind of goes straight line down there. And the district manager has about 8 to 10 different stores that they oversee. So not truly flat, but we try to keep as much of it out and keep the focus on where somebody can actually make a difference. In the Northwest, in our changeover in the Northwest, we went from having an executive team up there to putting more frontline people, more frontline managers out there, more district managers, more training managers in place, where they're actually touching and feeling and making a difference with the staff. So.
How did you develop the executive team? How has it evolved from the small stores to?
It's a great question. That's a great question, and I laugh because it's something that has been an evolution. It started out with the guys I started up with. When I started, I was just out of college and I needed help. So who do you turn to but your fraternity brothers, of course, because they'll work for beer. So it was, but I happened to have some great people that I knew that came in with me, that worked with me. So our executive team started from that basis, which is great for when we're starting, and there's still great parts of our company and great leaders in our company. But as we grew, it became very clear that we needed to broaden our horizon to people with talent in key areas. Not that our people didn't have talent. Cut, erase that part. My guys have great talent. But in the areas that we didn't have, finance. I'm currently hiring a new CFO because I need somebody with that skill set and that talent that can take us from $350 million to $1 billion in sales. So I need that. Mike Wilson's in the back here. He comes to us from Coors as our VP of Marketing. He brings a lot of experience and outside knowledge to do that. Brian Baxter, who works with us, who came in from Sealy. He went over to Sealy, worked there. We say he had a 10-year sabbatical and internship over at Sealy, but he came back over. And but he brings that merchandising in. So as you grow, one of the things that I've learned is as you grow, you've got to realize, and as the CEO, it took me a while to realize that I really need to make sure that I have the right person in the right job for the things that are growing in the development of our company and the areas that we need higher talent in. And, you know, the team that I started with, they're still there. They're awesome. And they do key parts of it. And Mike Combes does our operations. Rob Kilgore does our sales. They're phenomenal at what they do. But it was all this other business stuff that we needed help doing. And so we brought in the right people with the right talent skills to do that. So.
Wow, very exciting. Makes you want to go out and start something. Thank you so much, Dale, for speaking.
It. Really
Great.
appreciate it.
This is great.
Yeah.
We have a little something. Thank you. Thank you so much. And this is just a wonderful example of how our business partners program brings talent like Dale to inspire us and to share ideas. This is absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
Be safe out there. It is wet. It is slick. It is dark. So thanks for coming.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.